So I just discovered something. And what I discovered was, David, I may or may not have watered your lawn on a few occasions. So for those of us in the room, I have two worlds. My two worlds are these two worlds. That is my school district, Cato-Meridian Central Schools. We're in central New York. We're about 20 minutes east of Syracuse. And more importantly, my center of my world are my three kids, Sadie, who's 16, Lindy, who's 14, and my 11-year-old son, Anson. So now we put this photo up to invite my wife into our family. Just kidding. She is a speech-language pathologist, has over 20 years of teaching experience, and that's who we are. I also have a dog named Snowfia, and people in my district know that Snowfia calls snow days. So there's a few videos about that. So here I am as school superintendent. Everybody in the world thinks they know what a superintendent does. The only people in the world who know what superintendents do are the people in this room. So that third photo this year was with my cross-country team. They're very successful this year. They said, Dr. Ward, come out and run with us. I hadn't run in 7 years. I've been superintendent for 7 years, haven't run in 7 years. I went out on the trail, and what they said was, okay. They sent a search party for me after about 20 minutes. True story. Back in 2015, when I became superintendent, my predecessor handed me a manila folder. In that manila folder, he said, you need to know these three things. One of the things was our policy that we hadn't adopted yet about transgender students. Just a little more background about our school district. We've had some relative successes over the last few years in academics. We put a lot of time and energy into our MTSS plan. And you could see here, so back in 2015, when I began, we didn't really have hardly anything when it comes to tiered support for our academics. Now we have a menu for kids. But more importantly, back in 2015, we did not have a social-emotional triangle for our MTSS plan. We had a blank. And so now we have Tier 1 interventions, Tier 2 interventions, and Tier 3 interventions for our kids. The reason we developed that social-emotional triangle is simply because we started doing an assessment called the BIMAS. So in our screening tool bag of tricks here, you can see the BIMAS there. The BIMAS is our social-emotional screener. We give that 3 times a year. We ask students different questions on that assessment. We ask them how they're feeling, how it's going, all of those things. So with the BIMAS, now we're able to prescribe interventions for Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3 kids, not only academically, but also socially and emotionally. Does it work, Terry? Of course it works. This is our data. I know you can't see it back there, but that green bar in the middle is average. So that black bar was 3 years ago. We were in the average range as far as our junior, senior high school, the overall health of our junior, senior high school. You can see the following year, it's in the blue zone. The blue zone is a strength. So in my school district, I'm very happy to say it's a strength of our school district. That's something we're very proud of. A couple of statistics coming off COVID. As we all know, 45% of LGBTQ plus students in 2021 seriously considered suicide. It was about 10% for typically aged peers. Moving forward, I'm going to tell a little bit of a family story here. I'm going to try to get through it for you. Second grade, my middle daughter, second grade, Lindy, we get an email from the teacher. Teacher says we need to have a meeting. Okay, we're good parents. We go in and we have a meeting. The teacher says, Lindy is telling everyone that she's a transgender boy in class. And so we worked through that with the teacher. The teacher couldn't have been more supportive. But that was news to us. Fast forward a few years later, we get a school phone call from the same district. Your daughter just completed the BIMAS assessment, and she indicated that she has had a suicidal ideation over the last week. Again, you have to remember that my wife and I we've been working with kids for 50 years professionally. Not once did we have that conversation with our daughter. Item number 24 on the BIMAS. I can't look at my wife over there on this. Item number 24 on the BIMAS is that question, have you had a suicidal ideation? Immediately what happens in our district and every district that uses that is there's immediate phone calls and plans in place when kids answer that question. And I think it's important to ask kids that question. So some of the family pieces we've gone in this journey along the way. Should we have listened to our former pediatrician? What do we say as school districts? We say, go talk to your pediatrician. So our pediatrician came to our house, made a house call, sat at my kitchen table with me, looked me in the eye and said, Terry, you need to tell Lindy there's no such thing as a transgender boy in my house, at my table. Some of the other things that that we've still stuck on as parents, the terms non-binary, and I don't mean we're stuck on non-binary. What I mean is the meanings of these terms. We're also, my wife is a speech-language pathologist. I told you that. We still make mistakes all the time. I've already said my daughter. It should be Lindy. It should be my kid, right? So pronouns is something I continue to work on. Sleepovers. This used to be pretty easy. We were good parents. We called the other parents and we'd say, oh, okay, let's make a plan. Yes, of course we can have a sleepover. Now sleepovers come with a question, are you romantically interested in this person? Some of the other things we're working on as parents is name changes. That's easy as a school superintendent. We know what the rules are for name changes. A little harder, I believe, as parents. This is my daughter, Sadie. This photo was taken the year that she said that she had suicidal ideation, okay? I'm here to tell you that Sadie is doing wonderfully after a few years of counseling and support and love by not only us, but Baldwinsville Central Schools, and I thank God Baldwinsville Central Schools screens for socially and emotionally. This says BIMAS, it could be any screener. You should do it. It increases general safety for your kids, not only your kids in your school district, but it could be your own kid. It could be your grandkid. It increases academic achievement. Again, we've had some successes over the last 5 or 6 years. And we attribute that not only to some of the things we've done curriculum-wise in that first triangle, but also on our second triangle. The BIMAS gives you data. Screening kids gives you data. And just like academically, we need to know whether or not they're Tier 1 doing well, Tier 2 need a little support, or Tier 3 need a lot of support. And the only way to do that is to screen socially and emotionally with a screener in your school district. And what other tool do we use in education that can save a life?
Hello, I'm Sadie Ward and I'm Terry Ward's kid. I'm grateful to tell you that I am still here today. I hope what you take from my story is the passion that I have for all students in New York State, especially ones that are members of the LGBTQ+ community. When my dad came forward offering to share this story, I told him that yes, we had to do it because I just want to help kids of my age. Consider implementing a social emotional screening tool within your district. Sometimes teenagers can have troubles talking to someone face to face, and having this tool erases all of that anxiety.
So did you hear what she said? Thank you. Did you hear what she said? She had talked about it reduces the anxiety. Sometimes teenagers have a tough time talking to folks. Sometimes it needs to be in a different format, the question. So I just want to thank my school board for letting me be here today. I want to thank NISCUS for giving us the opportunity. Both Sadie and I think it's really important that you really think about using a social moisture screener in your district and having those interventions in place. Thank you very much.